Hello, welcome to the Soul Design Show. I'm your host, John Hodge, with our lovely co-host, Krystal Fox. And today we're going to be, we have a wonderful person that's going to be with us talking about their soul design. And with soul design, we try to help you understand how to navigate your life, how to move through your life with more ease, and meet those challenges, those tough challenges that we have in life, and not be overwhelmed by them, and navigate them in a way that is fruitful, and that we don't keep doing that same thing over and over and over. And that's the true nature of getting your soul design. And so, not to beat your head against the wall over and over and over when you run into problems in your life. So, Krystal, would you introduce our guest and tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jason Crain is a curious and adventurous 25-year-old living in Dallas, Texas, but has spent many years in Chicago and Portland. He works in the advising industry where he writes about the stock market. His current hobbies include traveling, having visited all 50 states and 6 inhabited continents, performing improv comedy, discovering new music, and playing board games. Jason is on a journey to become aware and introspective through meditation and yoga, and is part of the You Transformed community. So welcome, Jason. So happy to have you on here.
Thank you, Krystal. Thank you, John. I'm delighted to be here as well.
Awesome. Yeah, you have a wonderful background.
You really do.
Jason, it's a wonderful background, has a wonderful chart, and we're gonna talk about Jason's chart a little bit here when we get started. Jason is a love and truth soul. Basically, those are his primary energies that he's working with, love and truth. And he comes from, his soul origin is from a place called Hadar, a reality called Hadar. And Hadar is a very loving system that's different than the earth realm. It's not as, it doesn't have as much negativity, if you want to call it negativity. It doesn't have as much catalyst in it. So it's when a Hadar soul comes to the earth realm, it can be kind of a shock to you. Now, he's a mature soul. So we all have different levels that we're in soul wise. You can have infant souls, baby souls, young souls, and mature souls. And mature souls have been around, so he's been around the block. And in fact, there's 7 levels in each soul age. And Jason's a level 7, which is the teacher level. And it's the last level before he goes into the old soul stage. So Jason is here to teach us, teach everyone as his what he's been through. We're all
That's
like
exciting.
That. Yeah, we're all kind of like that. I think you guys will agree. I can certainly see that for myself, and I'm sure y'all can too, that the first part of my life, I had plenty of catalyst. And I still do. I have a lot of things that happened, but I'm a level 7 old soul. So I'm at the end of the rodeo, unless my oversoul wants to do something again. But level 7 is teaching level. So you're taking what you've learned, everything that you've learned, and you're giving it back and you're serving. So you're a mature level 7 teacher, and you're a server. Jason is a role. His earth realm role is server, which he wants to give what he has. So we've known Jason for a while now, and that's what he wants to do. And that's what he feels like he needs to do is serve in his capacity of the knowledge that he has. So we have this love and truth, and Jason has had some catalyst in his life. And we want to talk a little bit, Jason, with you about your relationship.
Sure.
And relationships is we all have many different types of relationships, but the ones that we really need to key in on, and that we want you to talk with us about, is the ones that were the ones that had been the most challenging for you, and describe one of them a little bit for us, and then we can talk about how that reflects in your chart.
Sure. So I very much identify with the truth and the love divine qualities that you have brought up to me. I think that when I make choices that are on the negative side of things involved with these energy sources, I sometimes can get insincere. And basically, the most toxic relationship I ever had, it was really a friendship. Uh, I perceived insincerity in the other person, and me being so attached to the truth, it caused me some whatever fear. And instead of just addressing it head on, I don't think you're being sincere, or just walking away from that energy source, the person, I matched them and I became insincere. She was saying, I love you. I was saying, I love you back. And neither of us was sincere. And it caused me a lot of anxiety, quite honestly. It was a negative spiral that started there. And on the same side, the love things, like, uh, I give my love very openly. I think some of my close friends are extremely close to me, unwaveringly so, because they realize I'm not judgmental and I always have like an empathetic ear. But sometimes on the negative side of the love, I look for people that don't love me back. And I get attached to that. I think that's a Hadarian quality as well. Like, you can get into these abusive situations. So I'm always looking for people, even though I have friends that are amazing. But yeah, that's high level. I have had some struggles with that currently, working on my self-confidence to attract what I want from the universe.
Yeah. So that for you, that truth aspect, and this is really common in truth souls with, people with that energy, it's so important for you to feel, when you're sensing what people are saying, or when you're working with people, you have that radar. Truth souls have that. They have that built-in lie detector, if you want to call it that, that can tell that. Now, you do have some qualities that, part of it is being Hadarian, but part of your earth realm qualities also are creating part of what you're going through with accepting things from people.
Right.
Just trying to accept it. Krystal, would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So your goal in the earth realm is accept, and your mode is. And so with your goal being acceptance, sometimes you're going to accept things just for the sake of being accepted. I know it sounds a little circular, but you'll be more willing to accept certain things just to kind of fit in and be accepted. So it's really about discerning, and especially with having the mode of passion, you've got that passion fueling you. And so you're just like, okay, yes, let's go. Here it is. And so you're just flying, by the seat of your pants without really stopping to really check in with yourself. Like, is this something that I want to accept? Do I even really, is this where I even really want to be? And so I'm actually the same as you. My goal is acceptance and my mode is passion. So I can very much identify, with you with that. And so it's really about learning to check in with yourself. Am I trying to bend to be accepted? And, having that mode of passion is such a beautiful thing. But really not letting it be, really just stopping to think and really check in with yourself before letting it drive you, really letting it propel you forward, essentially.
Isn't that kind of going against the passion? Or like, passion I guess it has a negative side as well. Like, it can be an obstacle if you just ride along with it without really checking how it feels, right? Okay.
Right. Yeah, there's positive and negative aspects to passion. And so being in the negative aspect is just, it's not really, checking in with yourself and just kind of flying by with whatever, just to go with it, just because it's, sounds fun, or, you're right in the moment or something.
Yeah. And in most of these earth realm, like the goals and the modes that you get into, a lot of the problems that we get into is not having a boundary on things. In acceptance, it would be remembering that I need to watch both sides of this. Like, it's good to be accepting. It's good to let go and allow things and accept them. But then knowing when that boundary is getting there to where I'm starting to feel my frustration and I'm not feeling right about this. And what happens is what Krystal was talking about is passion tends to be like it's a feeling that's a pressure. So it's like you want to accept, and that passion sets a pressure behind that pushes that a little further than it needs to be. And sure. That's kind of what we're trying to say is, for you and other people that have that, it's good to set those boundaries, now that's what's happening, and you don't want to get into situations like that again. So you would be setting up that understanding and knowing that it's good for me to accept and it's good for me to let go and allow, but there's there's this ending point,
right,
that I get to it and I'm not happy, when you're frustrated or unhappy.
Is it correct to say that these feelings manifest most genuinely in my body? Like, I'll get the feeling like physically, like I can feel my chest kind of, for me, it's the chest. It like sinks or it's very light. Is it correct that I can tap into that via meditation to like really get the sense? And that's a good tool.
Yeah. So you actually have an instinctive center with your earth realm. That is how you process information. It's through your body. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, John can probably expound a little bit more on that, but yeah, that's.
Yeah, you have it's called an instinctual center. An intuition is what it is. You have an intuition center. So intuition is in the moment, and it's that feeling right away. So what'll happen is something will happen and you'll get that feeling right away. And then if you make the wrong decision, you'll get that sinking feeling. Like I've gone too far.
I know that all too well. The key for me is I have to be aware enough to know it's happening, because it's definitely happening. And like, if I do check in, I'm like, wow, like my heart's in the pits and it's been for the past hour, and I know what triggered it, but that's the key, I think.
Definitely you get this initial intuition that you'll need to start. It's there. It's like it's like, this is right for me. And in a lot of people, it can be, for me, it's a feeling. I get a feeling right away. I need to be in this, or I don't need to be in it. And I pay really close attention to that, because I have the same thing you have. I'm intuition. I'm instinctive. I'm intuition. And I get it like that. It's just a quick thing. And if I don't pay attention, I get the same thing as you. I'm like, I feel it. I start feeling like I don't feel well.
Like you're carrying something.
Like it's like I'm carrying. Yeah, it's like I'm carrying something inside of me. Exactly. So, it's just really important to learn that feeling, that intuitive feeling. And one of the ways to do that is be grounded. Spend more time in meditation and breathe. Like if you get into a situation that you need to, just do that deep breath and relax and feel into your body. If you sink that feeling into your body and feel connected. And when you do that, you'll feel it's easier to feel those intuitional feelings in you and get that knowing. So that's
pretty amazing. Like I've discussed some of this with you guys and at the meetup, and it's really exciting to think that it feels like a superpower. Like I have this divine instinct, if you will, but trusting it is just one level higher. I have to know that's never wrong. Like,
well, that's true, and Krystal and I are the same as that. And it took me a lot of years to learn that. I mean, I was a type back in your age. I was a type A alpha male go-getter, after it everywhere, doing, just going after everything. And I paid for that in self-destruction and in many different ways in my relationships and everything I did. I hurt a lot of people doing that because I'm not supposed to be doing that. I'm not designed to do that. So but over time, and when I awoke spiritually, I learned to set back and wait. And that's really, you're a generator type. In human design, you're a generator, and generators need to set back and wait to respond.
Right.
So it's more, you need to hold back and accept the ideal that I need to hold back and let life come to me. And when you do that, that gives you the ability to wait to respond and get that feeling like, yeah, I need to be doing this. And then when you do get that feeling, that you're going to have a lot of energy. You're going to feel like doing this. I mean, you're not going to have that sinking feeling. You're going to have that here we go. I like this, and you'll get into it. So in your acceptance, it's about learning that intuition in the moment, and following that intuition. And if you get that sinking feeling, knowing I need to do something else, and getting yourself out of it. Because what most folks are doing is they're ignoring those feelings because the rest of the world around them is telling them to go.
Right.
Just do it. Just power through this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for people with our kind of makeup, you don't do that. The ending doesn't end well. Right. It just makes more frustration.
It really does. Yeah, Jason, let me give you an example also as a generator. So about an experience where I set out, my rocket of desire, and the universe pretty much, it really did bring it to me, and I had to wait to get the or the So a few months ago, probably about 6 months ago, I really was like, okay, I want to get out of the job that I'm in currently. I was really frustrated. I felt like I was hitting a wall. And then I was really, really frustrated about even just looking for another job. I'm like, oh my gosh, the job process. It can be a nightmare. So I was like, okay, this is before I even knew I was a generator also. But from what I knew, I was like, I just need to get my energy in the right place. I'm not going to worry about how it comes about. I'm going to get my energy in the right place. I'm going to pull back. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to align. I'm going to make sure that I'm in receptive mode to receive. And so I made sure, on my LinkedIn that I had my, open to new opportunities on, and that I was just aware of the things going on around me. And I was like, I'm not going to overstress myself to try to go out and get this new job. And literally a few weeks later, I had a recruiter reach out to me on LinkedIn. I got a job interview, and then it was up to me whether I, do I take this or do I not? I mean, it just came to me so easily. I had this like, oh my gosh, do I take this? Do I not? I had to really check in with myself. And the desires that I had been putting out there was I wanted a new job to basically exit the corporate world. I wasn't looking to get more steeped in it. I was looking to make my way out of it. And this opportunity was just that. It's worked out perfectly. It's literally been my stepping stone on the way out. But I didn't have to stress myself out trying to force it or go out of my way. I just had to make sure, I was in alignment and, focused on putting out the desire, really visualizing what I was wanting and letting it come to me, trusting that it would come to me, and making sure that I was in receptive mode and open for when it did come.
I think that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Receptive mode, just like you're listening really intently, you're doing a lot of like meditation, checking in.
Yeah, being in receptive mode is more, it feels more of a feminine energy. It's not so much, so trying to do would have been me filling out tons of different applications, looking just incessantly online for new opportunities, reaching out to every recruiter possible. That's just doing, that's action oriented. Being in receptive mode to me is more about, okay, I'm open. Do I have, my, on LinkedIn, I'm open to new opportunities. I'm still open to what's going on. I'm still looking at what's going on and listening for opportunities and talking about what it is that I'm desiring and wanting, but I'm not overly stressed about how it's going to come to me. I'm in receptive mode. I know that it's going to come to me and I'm open to how it comes to me. I'm not putting my blinders on necessarily and just sitting on my couch doing nothing, right? But I'm actively like, okay, making sure that I'm open. I've got my channels open for how it's going to come to me. Does that make more sense?
I think so.
Okay, it's more of a feminine energy, basically, to be in receptive mode.
Yeah,
Less
just
like being open. But I was meditating, I was being open, I was visualizing what I was wanting, trusting that it would come, and having gratitude for it, really just being in that receptive mode for it to come.
yeah, because when you're a generator, if you're not in that wait to respond mode, that receptive mode, and you're trying to put out energy and do things, that actually blocks you. It's a blocking force. So you just need to be.
How is it a blocking force? Is there like any mechanics behind that?
The mechanics of it is energetically. You're not designed energetically to do that way. You're putting the energy out the wrong way. If you visualize it, and let it go, you're sending a signal out to the universe, and the universe is going to bring stuff. It's going to send stuff to you. Then you're going to respond to it.
Sort of fair to say with words that like generators like us would be receiving energy from the universe, but like putting it out there is like you said, it blocks, like it goes against our design.
It goes against your design to try to do, is what I'm saying. I'm just saying it energetically. Doing is using energy.
That's fair.
So it goes against our design to do. It doesn't go against our design to visualize and put information out. Put information out and then let stuff come to us.
And Jason, start off with small desires. This is something that I have a lot of fun with all the time, actually. So just to kind of see how it will come directly to you, I'll give you an example. Recently, I was getting ready to go run some errands. And as I was getting ready, I was like, oh my gosh, I'd like a new makeup bag. I should go get a new makeup bag today, add it to my list of things to do today while I'm out. And as I was out, I was at a makeup store, just buying specific things. And when I went to check out, they were running a promotion that if you hit a certain amount that you got a free makeup bag. So they literally handed me my free makeup bag and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was literally the same day. It was really funny. But it's just stuff like that. And it was going to be something, an additional thing that I needed to do that day, but it was just handed to me, literally. So start off with small desires and really just take note at how they come to you.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. I love it. It's like the first time every time for me too. I get so excited. That passion. I'm just always like, oh my gosh, I was just really wanting to do this or needing to do this, or this was on my list of things to go out and do. And just here it is right in front of me as I'm doing something else. It's so amazing how it'll just come to you.
I second that.
We didn't really talk about it yet here today, but that mutation, I forget where that showed up, but mutation is, yeah.
You have the mutation channel in your design.
Yeah.
And the mutation channel is about going out and experiencing a whole bunch of different things and that kind of creates a catalyst in learning for you.
But is that
Yeah.
like against the generator?
Well, it's an innovation type thing.
Okay.
That that channel, you go out and you learn new things and innovate them. You see, for you, it would be seeing what's not the truth in it, and having an innovative ideal of how to correct that to the truth. That's the mutation. That's the mutation of an energy that's coming to you, and you seeing that it's not what it needs to be, and then you learning how to turn that around.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. I was
And
thinking of it
that's
like I want to mutate myself, but it's more like I can mutate the environment by just,
you can mutate the environment. Now, at the same time that you're mutating the environment, you're actually mutating yourself also. Because if you're going through an ideal about how to change something to make it better or see how to do something differently, and you create that innovation, that creates a novel ideal within you that creates a change.
Sweet.
You know, anything that's novel, that's new, creates a change.
Mhm.
It's something you haven't experienced. So you got to do something different to. So that's what the mutation channel is.
Okay. And then another just question that I had, a lot of these human design elements they come in groups of 7. And when I think of that, there's also like 7 chakras in the body, and 7 seems to be one of those perfect numbers. 7 colors of the rainbow. There's 7 different notes in a scale in music, and I just wonder, like, is there something special about that number, do you think?
Yes, it's a divine number, and it's, I'm not a leading quantum physicist or anything. I understand quantum physics, but the universe is built in these numbers, and 7 is a number that's within this over and over and over in the fractalization of things and the creation of things. That 7 is a perfect number, and it is a perfect number within itself. It's a prime number, one of the prime numbers. So it has a perfection within itself, and it's a part of the design of almost everything. So almost everything that we do in the creation, we see that there's that 7 introduced in it. When we look at the rays of creation, we're talking about 7 different rays of creation. If you break those down, there's actually an infinite number of differences in energy from one end of the spectrum to another. But generally, we put these qualities into 7 distinct rays, and like yours is the 7th ray, the violet ray.
The truth and love you're talking about.
Yeah, the
like
truth
the
and
truth
love. The truth is a very high frequency, and the love is another frequency. And we talked a little bit about that in class. I don't want to confuse everybody, but truth is a very the absolute truth. Let me put there's lots of different truths. Everybody has different truths, right? But the absolute truth of the way of everything is created in the divine creation, there is an absolute truth that is perfect. It's the balance, it's the harmony of everything working in tandem with each other and within, within its perfection. So if you think about truth, so you as a truth person, you're more in line with that, needing that absolute truth. When something is not the absolute truth, or it's away from it's away from the truth, you feel the disharmony within yourself. Because if you take two notes on a guitar that are not related, what do you get? You get a disharmony. Just as an example, just two different odd notes. So you have a disharmony, and that's what's happening. If you want to put this in terms of sound, it's in terms of frequency. You're getting something that is not, it's out of frequency, and you're going, you're looking at it like, no, that's not right, and you feel it. And that's one of the things that we want people to understand in watching this show is these energy centers that you have are like that. If you're in harmony with them, you're coherent with that energy that you're made of, and you feel good. And if you're not coherent with that energy you're made of, how do you feel? You don't feel good. You're out of balance. And over half to a little bit over half of your makeup is those primary energies that you have.
Really? So
yes.
They're related to the chakra. I know we've talked about that. So, but you're saying that like from the crown chakra, it dissipates through the whole body, kind of.
Yeah, it dissipates through the whole body. So your energy, the energy you draw from source, over around 50% of it is through these two energy centers. And the other ones are much less, the other 6. So
I assume that also is why if I'm meditating, it's easy for me to like breathe in and feel the heart area and then the top of my head, because those are the divine energy centers. Like I can feel those very easily, but it's hard I don't even know where my solar plexus is. I can't say I've really tried too hard, but I definitely don't know where it is.
Yeah, and that's true for all of us. I mean, I'm the same way. I can open my heart just like that. My heart center opens up, and that's, I feel my heart center. So I talked about it just now, and my heart just completely opened.
Are you a love divine energy though, or not?
I'm a love. Yes.
I see.
My primary center is love. My secondary is order. So, I feel those two centers a lot too. So it is about frequency. You need to be coherent with the way you're made, right? If you're not coherent with the way you're made, then you have a disharmony, then you don't feel good, you become ill. People that are way out of their energies, they become ill, and they get all kinds of sicknesses because their body's out of balance. And it may even develop in the areas. You could have a brain tumor if you're a 7th energy center person and you've just completely shut that off, and your soul is going, hey, it's right here trying to get your attention at it. But that's just an example, that why we have things in our body is because there's a disharmony, and we're not in alignment.
Can I ask about the levels of the soul? I believe you had mentioned to us that so there's 7 levels, and during your entire life, you're living within a level. You wouldn't upgrade until the afterlife, and who knows even at that point, right? But you can never go backwards. So if I'm mature to level 7, I'll never go back to being a young soul.
You can. Now there are some people who move up they're at the crossover point, like between mature soul and old soul. Sometimes people will go up into the old soul, or even at some of these lower levels, they'll go up into the next level, and they may slide back for a lifetime just because they're just now breaking into the newness of what they're doing. They may have to go back and get a little refresher. you know, and they'll get past it. But it's very uncommon. That doesn't happen in the other parts of the design. Once you get past that, between the mature and old, and you get on up into the old soul, you won't slide back.
That's interesting.
So you're up there. Now you may spend typically an old soul spends 5 to 7 lifetimes. They go really fast in the old soul stage, but it can take 30 to 40. It just really depends. It just depends on how well you're working with your design. What you came in to do. Your design is what you came into the world to work with in order to grow. And so it's all about aligning with your truth. For you, this is your absolute truth. If you align with it, you're going to hit on all cylinders, and you're going to go through life easier. You're still going to have run up on things. You're still going to learn your lessons, but you can do it in a much easier way. You may have a bump, but you don't hit the bump and fall down and walk around again and hit the bump again.
Sure.
See what I'm saying? You're not, most people, what happens is they have something that happens in their life and they get stuck in it. And they just hit that same problem over and over and over. Well, that's the soul trying to get past that and learn its lesson. But it's not really meant to completely be that way. You just need to learn your lesson. It wasn't meant that you needed to do it 40 times.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? If we know our design, we can go through our life with much more joy, and we're still going to have challenges and we're still going to have bumps in the road, but we don't have to revisit problems over and over and over.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like in a way, I think like it's exciting for like the ego and for us to make up these stories and these challenges and to think that we're conquering something. And so that's a choice, though. I guess I could choose to be more serene and not even see these challenges that could totally like knock somebody else over or me before I became conscious.
Yeah. You'll still expand. There's still things that come along that are, challenging. But when you know yourself at the deepest level, you're able to maneuver them in a way that keeps you on course and doesn't take you completely off to a different course for you to then run into the same thing, like he's saying, 30 more times before you're back on the path where you were wanting to be. And
yeah, most people hit the wall, and then they hit the wall, and then they hit the wall, and then they hit the wall.
And a few more times. Yeah.
Call me. This is the question I wanted to ask. Like, should I be afraid of succeeding here? And like, what if I'm like wildly successful? Like, what next in life? I don't know if that makes any sense, but like my ego is telling me to be afraid of that.
Well, there's nothing to be afraid of, because it doesn't. This is a learning thing. You can study this, and we know so little about the fullness of reality, and there's just so much that we need to. The human consciousness is really still trying to learn and evolve in. So that there's nothing to worry about in conquering all this. But there's this goes on and on and on. I mean, there's just levels. There's level after level after level in consciousness that we grow through. And, this isn't meant to be as painful as what people are going through. That's part of this of what we're trying to share with everyone is you don't have to have a painful life and a suffering life. Now, some souls come into the world to do that, and that may be what their soul needs. But if you're attracted to what we're doing, this is what your soul is wanting you to learn. I mean, there was a reason for you to come into this, and the reason for you to find these and teach other people.
Teaching.
Because
that's what I do.
Teaching,
right?
That's right. Because at this point, the transition that this planet is going through, there's a very small number of teachers on the planet right now that are teaching advanced soul technology, advanced manifestation technologies. And so we're trying to teach as many people as we can the technology that we know, that we've been taught. And so we can we're trying to uplift the entire collective. So enough of us need to be teachers. And, I will tell you that nearly everyone that has come to us is a teacher. And there's a reason for that. That's where we're headed we're here to affect the planet in a positive way and help everyone grow. So in order for you to do that, your soul design is going to help you to achieve much higher levels of consciousness than you would have been able to do without the knowledge, possibly. I mean, you may wake up and know all the knowledge. There's people that actually happens to, but not many. Most people, we have to, Spirit wants us to work through this. Spirit wants you to work through this game that we're in right now. Spirit wants you to work through your soul design and know it and understand it, so you can tell other people, this is how I did this. And this is why, I have joy in my life. I still have problems, but I have joy, and I don't fear. I don't fear death anymore. That's one of the things that's gone for me is I have no fear of death. I have no fear because I have such a deep contact with my higher essence. And I've seen so many different things. So you lose that. And when you lose that fear, you live life.
Sure.
Peace as well.
Yeah, you have peace. I have peace in my life all the time. For the most part, I'm now still human. We're all human, and I have my days that I get hit over the head by something. But the difference is when you elevate yourself in consciousness, you have a struggle that hits you like that, but you snap back really fast. And I can remember a long time ago, if I got hit with some of the stuff, it would take me weeks to get over it, even the smallest little thing.
Wow.
So one of the other things I want to talk about in your chart right quick before we run out of time is you're a spiritualist.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a spiritualist. So I can talk a little bit about this. Spiritualists have a very large view. Spiritualists tend to be big picture, see the big picture and understand it, and like to share. You feel the need to share this big picture and move it forward. One of our negative aspects as a spiritualist is thinking that maybe what we have is the only way, is the only right way, and trying to tell everybody else. We're becoming an evangelist for what you think is right, which sometimes we can classify that as the only right way. But a spiritualist in the positive side knows that this is a much greater world, a much greater picture, and is open and allows everyone. And in your case, as someone who wants to know and needs to know the truth, is to be able to be open and allow people their lies.
Allow people their lies.
And their untruths.
Sure.
You know, but there's a space in for there for you to be the teacher, you know, and helping people understand their truth better. But then again, you have all these other people with all these different types, chart types. And some people don't view bending the truth or saying things in a certain way as an untruth. And it's actually their makeup within them. They're feeling that way, that this is the way that I have to purport myself, you know, to get through life. So your challenge is, and really even all of us is when people are not being what we think they need to be, is to be understanding with them and just have love and compassion for them, that it's okay. It's going to be all right. You know, a lot of people are like that.
That'd go a long way. I thought of another question, hopefully a quick one. Based on everything in my design, would I do better at being like a teacher and a server one-on-one, or with a megaphone?
A spiritualist is a lot of times is a megaphone type guy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Now you're a generator, and you should do fine with larger groups. I'm a manifesting generator, and I've spoken to very large crowds at times, and there's you can carry that energy and be fine with it. As a spiritualist, you'll carry that energy, so you should do well in either platform.
Okay.
You know, that's what I find for myself, and I don't know how Krystal feels, but
yeah, I feel that way. I feel like I'm fine in front of a large group, and I'm really great one-on-one. Actually, I can really swing both. So
you're going to be really good, Jason. You're really good with either one. I mean, that, you know, yeah. To sum it up, is you just learning to let go and allow and have some boundaries there for yourself and for others, you know, concerning your truth, and learning how to navigate working with individuals and people, and helping them to see who they really are. You know, what I'm talking to there is their truth, helping them see what their real truth is, and doing it in a way that you don't feel like they don't feel like you're stepping on their feet.
That is extremely exciting to me.
Yeah.
Like that's just singing my heart is singing when you say that. It's
yeah.
Differentiate that from my truth. Like I don't need to put my truth on everybody, but help people see theirs. Like, seems very server oriented.
Yeah. So the last thing is really for you to stay grounded. Okay. Be grounded in what you're doing, and you know, if you're ungrounded, it's going to be hard for you to have that allowance when other
Is this
people
basically the generator thing we talked about? Like, stay aware of my feelings.
Yeah, it's part of the intuitional thing, and part of the energy of you dealing with your boundaries in order for you to feel worthy. You can get an unworthiness feeling by being ungrounded and not being centered. You can feel like you're not worthy just because the way your mechanics is set up. That real feeling inside of you is giving you that feeling of unworthiness, and a lot of it is really not unworthiness. It's just that energy of not being, of anxiety and not being centered. and not being grounded.
That's actually really helpful. That relates to like the love, right? Like I feel
Yep.
unworthy of love. I
That's-
do sometimes. I get in that mode.
Yeah, and you need to ground and you know, tell yourself you are worthy, and you're worthy of it.
Jason, do you ever go out in nature and meditate?
Not often. It's
Okay.
not part of my routine, but yeah.
I would suggest to get out in nature and meditate. You can get out in nature to ground. You can ground with the earth. I know it's kind of cold right now because it's wintertime, but when you can, take your shoes off, put your feet in the grass, really connect with the earth. That'll really help to ground you. And also in nature is a really great place to develop your intuition, really connect in with your intuition out in nature as well, since those are both areas that you should focus on. Nature is going to be a really great spot for you to be able to hit both.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Well, really enjoyed it this evening. And if anybody's interested in our soul design reading, you can go to our, we'll have a link underneath the video here. It's utransform.com, and look into to getting yourself a reading, and would love to help you out and serve you any way that we can. And so we'll see you next week on the Soul Design Show.